Uh, pivot, straight shooter, 4th and 1. And now let's talk about the edition of the Fair Weather Fan Channel. Yo, this your boy EC22 of the Fair Weather Fan Channel, man. Please, before we go any further, like, subscribe, share, leave comments, because I want you to join this conversation. Let's go ahead and get it started, man. Listen, Cam Newton, let me tell you something. Let me go ahead and just give my boy his flowers right now, his roses, his daisies, his whatever he like. Listen, Cam Newton, when it comes down to handling disagreements or handling what some would say media beefs, in my opinion, has been nothing but just stellar on how he dead in situation, on how he, as he would say it, make it, it's all entertainment, making debate fun again, right? Cam can come across, and probably to some come across as a little cocky and bold. Cam's not afraid. But at the end of the day, Cam understands the big picture. You know, everything don't have to lead to a fight. Everything don't have to be an argument. Everything has the potential to be worked out if both parties want to work it out. What you're saying, Eric, listen, recently Cam Newton have a guy who I just don't have a lot of tolerance for. I'm going to say it that way because like or dislike, I don't want to get into that because I'm supposed to love everybody as a Christian. But you know, I don't have any tolerance for one Jason Whitlock, and Jason Whitlock and Stephen A. Smith have had no shortage of words for each other and how they feel about each other, especially Stephen A. Right, but just recently, Cam Newton had Jason Whitlock on his show, 4th and 1, because Jason Whitlock had a lot of ugly things and disrespectful things to say. Now, before I get into that side, I want to talk about Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock, I've heard your take on a lot of people, whether it be Dion, Stephen A. Smith, Cam Newton, and just a lot of people you have your takes on. Angel Reese. My brother, because you're a fellow believer of Jesus Christ, I want to say this to you, Jason Whitlock. Your comments about people are disrespectful, they're ungodly, and they do not equate to what Christ-like attitude or mindset should implement or be an example of, right? I know you say you have a mission, Jason Whitlock, to represent God in all you do, but think about it. Look at some of your videos. Visit some of the strong words you had to say about individuals. So disrespectful, ungodly comments. You need to probably, and I'm telling you, I can't tell another person how to run his content because that's going to be a theme in this particular episode. But for you, Jason Whitlock, as a believer, don't do that. Don't say that. That's not cool. Regardless of where they stand or where you think they stand, that's not your call to be disrespectful to people. All right? All right, moving on. Listen, Jason Whitlock had a lot of ugly things to say about Cam Newton. Cam Newton, you know, like he always do, vowed to the fans that watch his show that he was going to have fun with this whole back and forth. But then he decided not to. He decided to have Jason Whitlock on his show to try to figure out exactly where the disconnect is and why Jason Whitlock has these certain things to say about him. And in public Cam Newton fashion, they talked, they hashed it out. Jason Whitlock did not change his opinion of Cam. However, he changed the words he used. He didn't say the nasty words he said in his own podcast live on 4th and 1, which to me, Jason Whitlock, you know, said obviously respected Cam enough to bring him on and have a conversation. But Jason Whitlock did not back down to his thoughts and why he feel the way he feel about Cam, and even offering Cam some advice if he feel like he wants to go longer. Now, to be honest with you, Jason Whitlock, you started out with a great career. And obviously, I mean, you're doing well for yourself, right? I mean, I don't see you starving, you know, and that's not to poke fun at your weight. I wouldn't do that. I don't fat shame anything like that. But, you know, but I'm just saying, you're not starving, you know what I'm saying? You seem like you're well off. However, your name is not in the lights like it once was. So if you're talking about Cam Newton having a long career, I don't know if you're qualified enough to give him that. You know what I'm saying? Stephen A. definitely is, but I don't know if you is, right? Let the man do what he need to do. It's a different generation. Things are different now, Jason Whitlock, and let them do the way, handle things the way they handle it. However, in the midst of their conversation, I want to be clear. I say this up front. Cam Newton brought Jason Whitlock on to talk about why Jason Whitlock is talking about Cam Newton. That's the context. However, in the midst of the conversation, Stephen A. Smith's name was brought up. And at the end of the podcast, the last few minutes of the show, Cam Newton told Jason Whitlock, as he said several times throughout the episode, at the time he came on, was like, hey, man, listen. Well, first of all, let's clear it up. Jason Whitlock wasn't on the whole episode of 4th and 1. He came on at the very tail end. I don't even know, maybe like the last 10, 15 minutes or so. And then at the very end of that segment, that's when he asked the question about Stephen A. And he asked a simple question. Hey, buddy, why do you have such disdain for Stephen A? Like, what is your issue with Stephen A. Smith? And then, of course, Jason Whitlock goes on to talk about he felt like Stephen A. was fraudulent in his claim to be a standout at Western Salem State or whatever, his college, whatever. And he felt like he used that energy and that resume that he felt was false to propel his career into sports media. And he felt like that was false. Jason Whitlock, that sounds like a hater. I mean, in the world as it is, I mean, if somebody falsified their resume, I mean, you go to the powers that be. If the powers that be said it's all good and Gucci, then you need to let it go. That was a long, long time ago, Jason Whitlock. And that's all he said about Stephen A. Smith, people. Now, Ryan Clark, Stephen A. Smith. I would assume, because you guys are part of the sports media, journalism, analysis, you understand context. Please, either one of you, tell me how was what Cam Newton did in defense of his stuff taken out of context to make it all about Stephen A. Smith. I don't understand it. Ryan Clark takes to Twitter, start talking about, having somebody else, a known enemy on their podcast, and somebody you cool with, you rock with, that's like loyalty, whatever you say. It was misplaced comment to aim it at Cam. How was what Cam Newton did taken out of context? Now, I get, just like any other place we work, just like any other field of expertise, those rules, and then they're unspoken rules. We get it. I understand it, right? There's public perception, and then there's reality. We understand it. And not just Ryan Clark and Stephen A. Smith, but others have went and took to their own social media accounts and tried to, quote unquote, crucify Cam Newton for what he did in defense of himself. I don't understand how was that taken out of context. Is that just a come to the aid of a Stephen A. Smith? Didn't say that. Because there was nothing wrong that I can see in my mind for what he did. He brought the man on to squash whatever there was they had going on. And in the midst of that, because the man kept bringing up Stephen A. Smith, he asked him a simple question: what is your beef for Stephen A. Smith? Now, first of all, I've never got the impression that Stephen A. Smith and Cam Newton were BFFs. Work well together, great colleagues, cool with each other, homies, can call each other up and anytime, great. But BFFs, I'm not sure. And the reason why I say it is evident. Because if you were friends with somebody like Cam Newton, if my best friend were to have somebody over their house that they're cool with, but I'm not, that got nothing to do with loyalty. And because they know that that's my best friend, the person that I'm not cool with, and they start asking my best friend about what they think about me, and my best friend give them the floor or give them the table talk and say, hey, why are you beefing with my BFL? Why are you beefing my homeboy? That's not disloyalty. It's my homeboys trying to get down to the business because he's cool with both of us. And he's trying to figure out what the deal is. They ain't got nothing to do with that. And y'all talking about platforms. Are y'all that arrogant over your platform? Especially a platform that doesn't belong to you, because that came out on his platform. Not like whatever you do on his platform is his business. I don't understand it. It's just like how when Cam Newton went to Pivot, he asked you guys a question about Brandon Marshall, about why was there issues? How can we solve this? How come this friendship ended over money? He was clearly cool with Brandon Marshall. But he went on y'all show knowing that there was a rift, knowing that there was beef, and he said, I want to figure this thing out. Cam Newton is a guy who believes in unity, who believes in, hey, we don't have to beat each other's throat. We can agree to disagree is what he always say. And if anything else, make debate fun again or entertainment. Ryan Clark, I'm just going to say this. To be honest with you, bro, this is the second time, and maybe the second time that I've seen that you brought Cam Newton up on your show about something that ain't got nothing to do with you. And it's one thing to talk about something he said, but to suggest that he do something different. I get podcasting. I'm a podcaster. We feed off of you guys. When you guys have a topic, I'll run it on my show to see what that topic is about, right? But when I sit around and listen to you guys, I don't go on my show and say, hey, let me crucify Ryan Clark. I'm doing that now because I think this is wrong. I really, really think this is wrong, right? But if you have a sports take about somebody that I don't think is right, I'll just get on my platform and say I don't think it's right. But I'm not going to sit up and say what Ryan Clark should have said and what he should have done. No. We all have the right to see things our own way. In case you haven't heard, that word is called an opinion. And we all have a right to one. Ryan Clark, Stephen A. Now, Stephen A., I watched the clip, and I know he asked some questions and saying about ask the right questions, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I feel personally that Stephen A. used that moment because him and Jason Whitlock just don't have it. I think Stephen A. wasn't mad at Cam behind that, right? According to Cam Newton, he said they were cool. But Ryan Clark, you obviously, because not only did you take to Twitter, then you goes on the pivot. It's like you spoke your piece on Twitter, then let it go. Why you want an attention? You want an audience? You want to go to your podcast mate, Channing Crowding and Fred Taylor, and hope that you should sway their opinion towards yourself and get them to agree with you? That's kind of lame, bro. It's kind of lame. Let the men draw their own opinion. I know y'all best friends, whatever, y'all cool, whatever, colleagues, whatever, I don't know. Let them have their own opinion. But once again, and I'm asking the question, please respond if you can. How was what Cam Newton taken out of context? I don't understand it. That had nothing to do with Stephen A. It had nothing to do with Ryan Clark or anybody else that chose to comment and say what Cam Newton did was wrong. That man stood on business, brought a man on his show and say, hey, all that stuff you talked about, say it to my face for the most part. All the stuff that we wish we could do when we get these people talking about us. The thumbs. People hide behind the thumbs. Cover my show. Jason Whitlock did not bow down. He said his piece. They agreed to disagree. And I don't get it. Let's talk about loyalty. Because the word I keep hearing is loyalty, because Stephen A., y'all, I don't know the workings behind ESPN, but if you want to tell me that Stephen A. Smith is the CEO of ESPN and everybody that get hired have to come through his signage, that's laughable. Stephen A. can put in a good word. He can suggest, but at the end of the day, it is the business of Disney and his corporate staff to hire and fire people. Yes, Stephen A. got influence. But at the end of the day, Cam Newton has to be a talent to make it work. The numbers have to be there. Otherwise, he wouldn't be on the show. All right? So, yes, Stephen A. may have, I don't know. But that's the way y'all make it seem like. But just because Cam Newton is on that show, he's indebted to Stephen A. Yeah, I don't know y'all world. I really don't. And I aspire to. But come on now. What y'all are suggesting to me, what y'all really suggesting to me, that Stephen A. Smith is a gatekeeper. And we don't like those. We don't like those. I don't want to assume or even think that Stephen A. is a gatekeeper, even though I know he is. But I don't want to think that, even though I do think that. Ryan Clark, are you a gatekeeper? Ryan, you have a real issue with Cam Newton. Cam Newton did not bash you on his show. He basically let you know the same thing I'm saying right now. Y'all need to talk. Ryan Clark, you have shown your hand about a lot of people, and I don't understand it. I really don't, Ryan Clark. You need to figure this out. Why do you? I'm not going to do the RG3 and start talking about hate. I'm not going to do that. You know, Angel Reese hate Cam Clark. I'm not going to say that Ryan Clark hate Cam Newton. But there's some disconnect, bro. There is some disconnect. Just say it. You don't like the way he dressed. You don't like his animation to the way he deliver his point of view. I don't know what it is. Is that personal? If you're going to get on your platform and tell your fans and your viewers like myself this, then you owe us an explanation. I want one. I don't know about everybody else. All the million followers you got. I want an explanation. And I deserve an explanation, Ryan Clark. Why come at Cam? Because I'm not the only follower of the pivot that rock with 4th and 1. All right? I'm not the only one. And we do not like to see this type of disunity. You don't sit around and make the fan choose, because that subconsciously is what you're doing. This has got to stop. I hope I made myself clear. I hope I get a response from somebody. But at this moment right now, this is for 4th and 1 crew with Peggy and Cam. Listen, if you guys get this message, listen. One question I want to ask you, Cam Newton, if you can respond. Listen, first I want to give you flowers. If you haven't watched this video in its entirety, I'm going to give you a flower and say, hey, man, your perspective, how you know how to de-escalate, how you know how to, let me say it this way, Cam. If Turn the Other Cheek was a person in this media space, it would be you. It would show your face, because you have done that plenty of times. Water off the bridge, water off your chest or shoulders, whatever they say it, right? Water off your back. I appreciate you in the media space, but the one question I want to ask you is like, what you do in shrugging your shoulders, turning the other cheek, why is that important to you to do so? Because everybody clearly ain't. People just clearly just go and say whatever they want to say, loose at the lip. Why is that part of your content important to make sure that these beefs of these things don't get out of control? It's your boy EC22. I'm your boy. Please like, subscribe, share. This is the Fairweather Fan channel. And for now, join us Tuesday, 6 p.m. on the Fairweather Fan channel with my boy D-Way and J-Dub and whoever we've had on the show. See you then. This is your boy EC, and I'm out.